Hello, I'm Tomer. I'm from Treetop Flyers. I play the drums. We're here in a wine shop in, where are we today? We're in Cologne. Yeah, wine is a bit of a hobby of mine. I started getting into wine, I suppose, when I was in college, university, drinking really, really cheap hardware stuff. And then eventually I moved over to London, and there's a wine shop around the corner from me, and I started buying, because wine is so readily available nowadays in supermarkets. And I started drinking stuff in the supermarkets and finding that I kind of liked it, and I got more into it. And I kind of wanted to know what the difference was between a really cheap bottle of wine and a really expensive bottle of wine, if the price really was worth paying for it. So I just went a bit nuts, and I went and I bought a 50-pound bottle of wine just to sort of see what the difference was between the stuff you get in supermarkets and the guys at the shop were really good around the corner from me. So I ended up falling for wine, and I haven't stopped spending money on it since. Every month I spend probably a couple £100 on wine. So yeah, we're here looking at a bunch of wine now, and I go to tastings every now and again when I can find the time and stuff like that. And I really you sort of have to find, the thing about it is worth spending the money on it. You just have to find the kind of wine that you like, and then it's worth spending the money on. I'm a big fan of Burgundy in France. Things like this, Charme Chambertin, anything from sort of Gervais Chambertin, I go nuts over that stuff. But it's some of the most expensive wine in the world, so I can't always afford it. And then I accidentally sort of had a bottle of this Chateau Mouton Rothschild over Christmas, because my sister-in-law got a bottle from a friend whose grandparents worked for the Rothschilds, and they gave him the bottle, and he gave it to my sister-in-law, and she had no idea what it was, and she gave it to her father when it was his 60th birthday, and we ended up drinking it over Christmas. It was about a 500-pound bottle of wine, and I didn't really like it, actually. So, it depends on what you like. It's not worth spending 500 quid on something if you don't like it. It's not my style of wine. But I once was at a tasting, actually, and I try to collect a bit if I can. I've got a few bottles that I've sat on for the last 5 years because I'm waiting for them to mature. But I drink them a bit too fast, really. But I was at a tasting once, and there was a guy who told me that he was quite a wealthy guy. He started a conversation with me, and he said, once you've collected and spent about £50,000 on wine, it starts to pay for itself. So the stuff that you collected early on probably has grown in value so much that you can sell it off, and then the money you earn from that pays for whatever you then get. So yeah, one day when I can actually start collecting and have a place to store it all, I'll work my way towards that 50 grand, and then I'll have enough wine to drink for the rest of my life, which would be great. It'd be really great. Yeah, that's about it, really. Yeah, so I have a couple of wine fridges at home. They're fairly small, hold about 21 bottles each. I've got it. Once I fill them up, it's a bit I can't really buy anything until I start drinking. So then I start plowing through 2 or 3 bottles a week. I start going through if I have the time. But I like to drink out of a decent glass as well. I've heard that. It's funny, man. You hear all these stories about, the glass that you drink it out of makes a difference. Some people say it doesn't, but I find that it does. So I bought myself a couple of really expensive glasses, about 20 pounds a glass, and it's worth drinking out of those. But you should stay away from little gimmicky things. They have these things that you can pour wine into, and it sort of aerates it. It's kind of like when you see people put wine in their mouths and they go like that kind of thing. It sort of does that for you, but it doesn't really, because wine needs time when you pour it. You can put it into a decanter if it needs decanting. Some wine doesn't. Older wine generally doesn't need it because it's been in the bottle so long it's matured. But young wine, you can put it in a decanter, and it sort of opens up a bit over time. But yeah, stay away from the gimmicky things. I have one, but it's rubbish, one of those things. But the glass that you drink it out of is important. And storing wine at the right temperature is really important, which is why I got the wine fridges in the first place. Because I knew if I was going to start getting stuff that was valuable, that was worth hanging on to. I'd have to buy it like sort of cheap before it got too expensive if I wanted to ever drink it. And the only way I was going to be able to do that was if I had somewhere to store it properly, because otherwise it goes off. Too high a temperature or too much of a temperature fluctuation, and the wine's no good. So I had to spend the money if I was gonna hang on to a few things. It was worth doing because I recently opened a bottle of wine, a half case of something that I couldn't afford a whole case at the time. And I recently opened a bottle. I've been sat on it for about 5 years, and it just blew my head off. It's just too big. I generally drink on my own. I let my wife have a glass or two, but I generally drink wine on my own because I like it too much to share it with my friends, especially my bandmates. They don't know enough about it. They don't appreciate it. So it kind of annoys me when I drink something and I go, "Wow, that's amazing," because I taste so much different stuff, and I feel like I know a little bit more about it. And then they go, "Yeah, it's all right." It kind of annoys me. It's like, well, you're drinking like a 30-pound bottle of wine and you're not appreciating it, so I don't like to share it. But I'd happily share it with someone who could appreciate it. Yeah, that's about it. I'd love to try this one day. This is a very good wine. Gaia, very famous wine, Barbaresco from Piedmont in Italy. It's made from Nebbiolo grape. It's supposed to be one of the best in Italy, Gaia. Although I don't know, different vintages are worth more because sometimes they have a better year. Depends on the weather. That's a whole other thing which I don't know anything about. The funny thing is the more you learn, the less you know, because there's so much more to know. It's crazy. I've got one of the guys at the shop that I spend all my money in. I think I'm probably single-handedly keeping them open. No, not really. He knows so much, it's just insane. But it's really cool when you're into something and you meet someone who knows so much about it and they can talk about it with so much knowledge and excitement. They get you a bit more into it, and they sort of get me overexcited, and I end up spending more money than I probably went and think I was going to spend. But I'm always happy because when I drink the wine, it's just it's great. That's about it.